Hey, how y'all doing? Those of y'all who don't know me, this is Mario Street. Well, you're on my page, so I imagine you know that. But I want to touch on faith, today. This is early. I ain't even shaved yet. I just, it was on my heart, so I'm doing it. I'm no preacher, and I'm not telling anybody what they have to or need to do. I'm just telling you what has happened in my life and what's brought me from the deep depths of the darkness into the light. Now, some years ago, I was on fire. I was so ready to do God's work and get out there and make it happen. I was caught up in the worldly vision of what that was. I was caught up in making myself perfect. I love God and I loved everything about being a Christian, but I didn't realize that by me trying, and I don't even like the word try, but you'll see what I mean by that. By me trying to make things in my life perfect, I failed, and I failed hard. I was all in the front page of the newspaper. Matter of fact, hold on, I'll show you. Real talk. Front page of the newspaper. Can y'all see that? Hold on. There we go, y'all can see it now. Yeah, front page of the newspaper, right? Now, for that. Now, let me tell you, months later, I was on the front page of the newspaper for climbing through a window and robbing a bar. Now, how did that happen, when I was on fire like that? Because I was wrapped up in thinking that I could change me. I could change me better to work for God. And that was so distorted and so messed up, man, because the bottom line was he needed to change me. So what I needed to be doing was gaining a stronger relationship with him. I wasn't supposed to be focused on all that other stuff, because I was overloading myself. And by overloading myself, I was looking for a way to take the pressure off. And because I didn't really gain this truthful, honest, and loving relationship with God, man, I didn't have nowhere to put that pressure, so I put it back in the dope, and that led me to go to jail, and that led me to really have to humble myself, because think about it, man. I'm in the paper for that, then in the paper for something else, and now I got to sit in a block with a bunch of guys who've seen that, and that's a heck of a thing, man. That's a heck of a humbling thing too, let me tell you. I had to really humble myself to understand that I needed to gain a relationship and not pay attention to all the negative feedback I was getting from my crazy setback. Now, back to what I started this for. Faith is something that, to me, faith is something that grows daily. I used to, when I was in jail for that, and I was realizing that I had to get out of this worldly, Christianized thought process that I had to get into a godly Christianized process. And what I realized is, man, faith grows every day. I'm telling you, man, I was noticing little bitty things. Like I had put a paper with Joe Orso. He's a friend of mine. He works for the Tribune. And I read his article one day, and when I was in jail, and I was like, man, I gotta meet this guy, I wanna, tell him my story. Maybe he could follow me until I get out, because I knew what I was gonna do at that point. So I put it in, I just randomly stuck it somewhere in a book, man. And I started reading these books about faith one day. And I had signed up for a group too, that I had to go out to, one of those things in jail where you get to go out and learn something, that a lot of people don't do. That's another thing, man. I learned that's important too, you got to get out and learn stuff. But, oh, somebody couldn't make it to the party. But, So what I did is I seen, where was I at, y'all? Okay, wait. So the little piece of paper. So I put it in the book, right? And when I did that, when I put it in the book, I got called out for this group. Like, let me see. It was probably a month later. This group I had signed up for. And I was walking in circles around the block, and I was reading this book on faith. Now, when I got to the part where it told me faith comes in grows every day in several different forms, several different ways, and you got to notice the really small miracles, little bitty ones, as well as the big ones. So I put the book down because they called my name to go out to the block, and when I put the book down, I seen this piece of paper sitting, poking out, that it was going to get caught in my bin. So I grabbed this paper and pulled it out of the other book, and it was this article where Joe was talking about faith, and I was like, huh. I was like, man, that was a little miracle right there. You know, I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, you know, that's cool, because that was what was going on in my mind. That was just like confirmation that I was on the right path. To me, you know, it may seem crazy to some people, but that was one of my little miracles. And then when I walk out of the group, when I walked out of the block to go to the group, I walk in the group, and guess who's sitting there? Joe Orso. Now, that was another confirmation for me, and that was just cool, man. But what I'm saying in that is, you gotta notice little stuff like that, and notice that God is doing that it is a divine appointment. Everything is divine, you know, everything is divine. And when we start to notice that, when I start to notice that, like I just said, I'm not preaching, I'm just letting you know what I do, you know. And when I started to notice that, things started happening in my life like crazy, man. And I started to be able to handle things in my life a lot better without all the pressure, because I started to notice that God was there and that He was working, you know. And the more I knew He was working, and the more I knew He was in control, the more I could handle struggles and storms when they came. I could handle them and walk through them with stride, man. I'm not saying that I don't get pissed off or things like that don't happen in my life. They do. But I can handle them a lot better. I am not on drugs right now. I'm not, you know, out fighting. I ain't doing none of, you know, I'm not doing none of the things that I used to do when pressure came about. You know, I'm not doing that no more. I got a different way of handling it, you know, and I still got a lot of growth, man. You know, I'm gonna be growing for the rest of my life. And that's another thing I understand. And another thing that I understand is that I don't have to please man. You know, just because there's a lot of people that come up to me and hey, well, you ain't doing this right. How are you promoting God? You're not this, how are you promoting God? You're not God. How are you condemning me? You know, and that's a big thing, man. And that's a lot of things, you know, a lot of brothers and sisters, man, I know are not, they feel like it's too big of a job to become Christian, become faithful, because so many people are telling them what they have to do before they can do it. You know, but what I've learned is that God does it, man. God changes these things in our life. We have to come close to Him, man. And I had to come close to God. I had to realize who God was and the power that He possessed in order for me to do anything, man. You know, in order for me to do anything, you know, I got talent now, and I can take things to a certain level, but without Him, I can't reach that next plateau, you know, and I have now, and I don't really know, you know, I don't know if I made any sense to y'all right now, but I'm hoping that somebody watches this and it makes sense to them, man, and that, you know, my testimony can help somebody's life, you know, because I really can't hold it in, you know. I'm gonna make a lot more of these, and then maybe y'all will understand why I'm so passionate about my life and about how God has changed it, because I've been through a lot, man, and a lot of people that know me don't know half the things I've been through yet. I'm gonna tell you, you know, through my music and through speaking, I'm gonna let you know, you know. But like where I'm at right now, in this city of La Crosse, a lot of people don't know the half of it. They know the storms that I went through, and that's a miracle in itself to where I am right now. But it was a lot more dangerous and scary before here. I don't know, man. I love y'all. You know, Thank you to everybody that's supporting my music out there. I appreciate that, you know, and be looking for a lot more because I'm not gonna stop. You know, I figured out where my line is. I figured out what my path is. I figured out my purpose. And you know what? I'm finna go hard at it. So be looking for it, baby. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have a great day. Love y'all. God bless. In a minute.